What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today we have a bunch of new cards to talk about, including support for the Suships and Penguins, and a few other cards. So let's just jump right into it. We're gonna start off with the Suships. So we got Urchin Suship, level 5 Fire Aqua Effect, 900 attack, 500 defense. You can reveal one other Suship card in your hand, special summon this card, then apply the effect based on the revealed. If it was a Rice Suship, you get a special summon the revealed monster. Otherwise, you place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. You can target one Rice Suship monster you control. Its level becomes 4 or 5. Then you can add one Rice Suship from your deck to your hand. So this whole deck revolves around Rice Suship, which is a level 4 normal monster. Um, so that second effect is actually pretty relevant because you can special summon this card, put one to the bottom. Then you can target this card and then make it level 4, and then normal summon your Rice Suship and go from there. That's a simple thing you can do. This card is probably like a 3 of in this deck for sure. Definitely a good card for this archetype. Next up, Icefish Suship is a level 4 Aqua Fire effect. 200 attack, 250 defense. Its first and second effects are hard once per turn. If you control a Rice Suship or an Xyz monster that has Rice Suship as material, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can special summon one Suship monster from your hand, except for itself, then place any number of Rice Suships from your deck or graveyard on the top of your deck in any order. This card is also very good as it allows you to get out your big monsters pretty easily. So you can easily special summon this as well. So since Rice Suship is a level 4 normal monster, you can use Unexpected Die to summon that right from the deck, and then you can special summon this. So overall, pretty good. And then you can also special summon um, the level 5 if you want with this card as well. So definitely, both these cards are probably 3 ofs in the deck for sure. This deck is a pretty funny meme deck, to be honest. Next up, Super Dreadnought Suship. It's a level 5 Aqua Effect monster. 2900 attack, 500 defense, and it requires 2 level 5 monsters, so it is pretty generic to make. If this card is XC summoned, you can apply one of the effects based on the materials used. If it has Rice Suship, you draw a card, and then if it has Urchin Suship, you can attack directly. That's pretty good. Once per turn during your main phase or opponent's battle phase, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Suship monsters special summon from your extra deck and negate their effects. This card is also very good. However, the only bad thing is that you have to wait to battle phase to negate things for your opponent. So that's kind of bad. But the first effect can be pretty relevant as it allows you to attack over certain things, or it allows you to just negate things, and certain cards have good effects, and all that. This card, its first effect on XE summon, excuse me, sneezed a little bit, sneezed while talking. It's a weird thing. Anyway, its first effect is pretty easy since Urchin Suship is how you're going to be making this most of the time, and Rice Suship as well, and it'll draw you a card too. So it's pretty decent. But the second effect definitely could have been better. Next up, Carrier Suship, Icefish-Class Auxiliary Dish, level 4 Fire Aqua Effect, and has 2200 attack, 250 defense, and is 2 level 4 monsters. So if it's XE summon, you can apply the effects. Rice Suship, you draw a card. Ice Suship, you add a Suship spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If this card face up, or if there's a face-up field spell, your Suship monster special summon from the extra can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. They also gain attack equal to their original defense. So that last part is pretty nice, protecting against card effects. The attack gain isn't very relevant because they don't have a lot of defense anyway. This would go up to 450 or 2450, for example, and then the other one, granted, would go up to like 3400, but it already has 2900 attack, and so it's not as relevant. So far, interesting cards for the Suship archetype, but since we have more cards to talk about, we're going to move on to the next cards. So first up of the next set is called Penguin Sword, which can only be equipped to a penguin monster. You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. The equipped monster gains 800 attack. When the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can return one card your opponent controls to the hand. If a face-up card your opponent controls leaves the field by the effect of a penguin card and it is returned to the hand or banished, negate the effects of that card as well as the activated and effects on the field of the same with the monsters of the same name until the original one. Okay, this card basically bounce negates everything on the field and negates that monster's effect. This is a pretty good card for the Penguins. Um, we're gonna kind of like have Penguins like we're not gonna judge Penguins too hard because Penguins are very janky deck, but I am glad to see that they're getting support because I like Penguins and I think they're kind of cool. This card kind of does what the deck wants. It it gives you benefits for bouncing stuff, and it also bounces. And when you have stuff like you have access to Degenerate Circuit to bounce things and banish them, and then there's no Penguin that also does the same thing, and then this also helps with that as well. So that's what you do is you try to get cards to banish them. This card is pretty good for the Penguin deck. Next up, Summon Storm. So a normal spell card, and its second effect is a hard once per turn. First effect, pay 800 life points, special summon one level 6 or lower wind monster from your hand. During your main phase, except for the turn that this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon one level 4 or lower wind monster from your hand. So I definitely like this card. It kind of helps you play extend in a lot of wind decks. Harpies don't necessarily need it, but it could be a nice little addition as well, because it like if you wanted to play Harpy Sisters, this kind of helps you play Harpy Sisters. I wouldn't recommend playing Harpy Sisters, but that's something you can do if for a little bit more casual thing. There's also if you're playing a more competitive version of Harpies, the 800 life points is pretty negligible, and special summoning a wind monster from your hand can be pretty good and a good play extension. So overall, it's a pretty good card. I don't think this goes into like Flunder Freeze because half the monsters are half the monsters are water, half the waters are wind, or half the monsters are wind, and on top of that, they want to be normal summoned and not special summoned, so they don't really fit into that deck. However, they do fit into the Harpies, and they can fit into the Magispectors if you want, but the Magispectors are pendulum based deck, so they don't really need that as well. So next up is Toy Parade. So this card is always treated as a Fright Fur card, and its first and second effect are hard ones for turns. You can target one dark monster you control that was special summoned from your deck this turn. You can only declare attacks with that monster, and also each time it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, it can attack again. So this can potentially attack all of your opponent's monsters and then once directly. Second effect is if you control a fairy monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard and add one level 4 or lower dark monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this is to get back some of your materials. So its first effect is to help clear the board, and its second effect is to help give you some recursion. I don't think this card is necessarily what Fright Furs want, but I haven't played Fluffle / Fright Furs in a very, very long time. So you guys can let me know. When I played it, this isn't really what they wanted. They could OTK without this pretty easily, and they popped the monsters that they needed to get out of the way. So when I played the deck, this wouldn't have been an effect that the deck necessarily needed, but maybe they do now. You guys can let me know in the comment section. Next up is Even More Pain. Is the last of the support, but let's see what it is. So, Penguin Champion, or Penguin Adventurer, is a level 5 Aqua Effect Tuner with 1800 attack and 600 defense. Its first and second effect of this card's name are hard ones for turns. It can't be synchro summoned, or it can't be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a water monster. If a monster becomes set on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand and decrease its level by 1 or 2. You can target one face down defense position monster you control, change it to face up defense position, but its effects are negated unless it's a penguin monster. So this card is meant to, like, you set one of your penguins, and then you use this to special summon, um, and then you can flip it face up on top of that. And because it'll be a penguin, you can you get to bounce. So this card is pretty good for penguins, as you can also lower its level and go into the penguin synchro as well. That's kind of what the idea of this card is. I think this card's pretty good for penguins. Like I said, I'm not gonna judge the penguin cards too hard, uh, as they're more of a fun, casual deck. And on top of that, any support really will help them, since that deck is very, very slow. Next up is Penguin Ninja. So, level 3 Aqua Effect Flip Monster. 1400 attack, 700 defense, and the second effect is a hard once per turn. If this is flipped face up, you can target 2 spell or trap card monsters, or spell or trap cards your opponent controls, and return them to the hand. Then, second effect is you can target 1 penguin monster you control and change it to face down defense position. So this is how you actually summon the level 5, because when I reread the number 5, as I was talking, I realized that you have to flip the monster face down. It has to become set. So this can do that. So you can target itself, flip it face down. This can special summon it because a monster became set on your field. And then you can flip it face up and bounce any spell and trap cards. And then go into reduce this card's level by 1 or 2. By 2, so that you can go into their Synchro 6. Decent, definitely decent. Good card for the archetype as well. All penguins are slow. They're all flip effects, and they all have this whole bounce mechanic. So it does what the penguins want. It's a better version of one of the other penguins. Because Penguin Soldier bounces 2 monsters, this bounces 2 spell or traps. So that's kind of what this is going for. Next up, we got the Penguin Priest, level 3 water effect monster. That's an aqua, 600 attack and 1700 defense. If a penguin monster is sent from your monster zone to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, even during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters, discard this card, and if you do special summon that monster in face down defense position, once per turn you can target one penguin monster you control. It gains 600 attack. Also, you gain 600 life points. So that first effect is really, really big. This allows penguins to have a lot of recursion, and none of the penguins are hard once per turn, or their flip effects aren't, because flip effects being hard once per turn don't really make sense most of the time, because none of them are really powerful enough to justify it. Even Pot of the Forbidden, I don't think is a hard once per turn to flip face up. So yeah, this allows you to flip it to keep bouncing things. Let's say your opponent has a full board of monsters. Maybe they don't have any negates or anything like that. They're just going, and they're playing more casual deck that can like push for OTK. And you're playing penguins. They attack your penguin soldier. You bounce 2 of their monsters, and then you discard this to set the penguin soldier back. If they attack and do it again, you get to flip and bounce 2 more, and that's kind of what this card allows you to do. Its second effect also allows you to your penguins to get over things, because they don't have a ton of attack, and it just helps get a little bit of life points, which is going to be nice since you're going to be probably losing the life points, since your whole deck revolves setting monsters and being really slow. So definitely Penguin Priest is so far the best support we've got. And then next up is, and this is the last card, in fact, last but not least, I guess, Penguins, a Royal Penguin's Garden. So it's a continuous spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. When this card resolves, you can add 1 penguin card from your deck to your hand, except Royal Penguin's Garden. Once per turn, you can reduce the level of 1 penguin monster in your hand or face up on the field by 1, then discard 1 card. So this card is meant to make it easier to summon your level 5 penguins. And then on top of that, the discarding a card isn't that big of a downside, because they do have cards like No Penguin, and No Penguin actually wants to be in the grave because it special summons itself out when a penguin activates its effect. So if you could discard No Penguin, that is definitely a way to go. And since these are aquas, you get access to like surface and stuff like that, because most of the penguins are level 3 or lower, with the exception of this level 5, and then Nightmare Penguin, I think, is a level 4. But other than that, most of the penguins are level 3 or lower. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys are excited for the penguin support, you can let me know in the comment section down below. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday. And if you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, maybe of penguins, maybe of the Suships, my email is in the description. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.